turn-based strategy, roguelike gameplay, and Lovecraftian horror themes. We're talking about none other than the Darkest Dungeon. Later this fall, Darkest Dungeon 2 will be making its way to early access on the Epic Games Store, and PC Gamer gave us our first look as to what we should be expecting in this new installment. I'm here today to comb through the article with you to see if we can answer some questions and speculate on what should still be coming. Welcome gamers, I'm Gamer Inc. and I'm excited today to go over the latest Darkest Dungeon 2 news and what we should be expecting from Red Hook Studios later this fall. I play Darkest Dungeon as well as a variety of other games over on my Twitch channel, which I stream on every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. You should also be sure to like and subscribe to this channel, as I'll be putting out more videos later talking about future gameplay news and highlights as well. In the opening line of the PC Gamer article, it states the world is dying. Tendrils of darkness crawl across the land, swallowing up everything but the battered road ahead and your flickering torch. The world's last hope for salvation. The apocalypse has arrived, but if that sounds bleak, you've probably never played Darkest Dungeon. Now you just have to imagine that voice being read in the fabulous voiceover styling of Wayne June to get the full effect as what we can expect here from Darkest Dungeon 2. I have been hypothesizing and waiting for months to see what Red Hook was cooking up for Darkest Dungeon 2 and how they plan to change things up from the first game. In the PC Gamer article, Chris Barusa says that Darkest Dungeon 2 combines the feel of Darkest Dungeon and the Oregon Trail, and maybe with a touch of Hades-style story progression as our band of heroes are escaping the darkness of the dungeon, not descending deeper into it. They announced there would be some 3D elements added to the game, which at first I thought we would see as a grid-style combat board, similar to what the new board game version is currently being produced by Mythic Games on Kickstarter. Now, I'm a Kickstarter backer at the Ancestral Pledge level of this game, so be sure to check back later and we will do an unboxing of this board game version of Darkest Dungeon being produced by Mythic Games. In the first Darkest Dungeon game, you were looking at least 40 plus hours of campaigning, putting all of your heroes through intense situations and stressing them out, just to dismiss them or watch them die and replace them with new heroes later. In Darkest Dungeon 2, Red Hook wants you to care more about your flawed heroes. They said in the PC Gamer magazine article that it's keeping the idea of quirks and stress, creating unexpected and sometimes maddening surprises. But this time you'll be managing a party of only 4 heroes on a road-like run to an ominous mountain, a brisk 5 hours if you survive the journey. I believe this is going to mean no more running back to the hamlet to replace heroes that have become too stressed to continue. You're going to have to do a better job of managing your quirks and your stress with the party you're given, because the opportunity to heal up, rest, replace, or recruit new members is going to be somewhat limited. I think this is where we will see Darkest Dungeon 2 take a page from games like Hades, where you probably won't succeed the first time clawing your way out of the madness. It may take multiple attempts to escape, and each time it'll unlock a new ability or progress your heroes. I'd expect Darkest Dungeon 2 to be a rinse and repeat campaign as you push your party a little further each time to make your way out of the hamlet and up the mountain to freedom? A new boss? That's yet to be seen. Either way, this might appeal to new players or returning players who thought that the first game was too grueling and punishing to invest time into heroes just to have the Shrieker make off with their corpses and trinkets. One of the aspects of the game that I'm most excited to learn more about is the combat system. It seems like that it'll remain somewhat the same, a bit with a few changes to the mechanics. 4 adventurers will still line up against a party of similar size, where your position is key for the use of abilities and reach. Classes will have more abilities at their disposal to choose from, going from 7 to 11 that you can choose from. A clearer turn meter is also being added, so you know exactly when each hero or bad guy is going to act, making it a little easier to prepare for which action you need to take. But it seems like we should not be counting on Bleed or Blight to take out that Skelly on its turn, as it looks like enemies may be getting some sort of a death resist that allows them the chance to keep fighting even after their HP drops to 0. Character stats are also taking some of the biggest changes, as things like dodge and crit evolve into a token system, where they are guaranteed to absorb or put out a certain amount of damage, kind of like the Aegis shield works with the shield breaker. Accuracy is also going away altogether. Gone are the days of spending all your gold at the blacksmith to level up gear and armor. Instead, trinkets will still be available to provide some situational benefits. Instead of adding a percentage to tweak stats, good or bad, in a certain direction, they will now offer certain effects like providing block tokens or being able to add crit tokens, especially when your leper starts missing all of their attacks. The stress meter goes away and is replaced with a different system where instead of suffering a heart attack, your character will now have what is called a meltdown. This will no longer put them on death's door, but instead will reset quirks, good or bad, that impact the relationships that your character has built up with the party members throughout the journey. Speaking of our party members, we'll also be seeing a reduction in the number of heroes that we'll have to choose from at the time early access launches. We'll be seeing the return of the Grave Robber, Occultist, Plague Doctor, Man-at-Arms, the Leper, the Jester, the Highwayman, and Hellion, in addition to a new class that's yet to be announced. I'm hoping that the Occultist has brushed up on his healing skills a little bit, as there is no Vestal here to pick up his slack. This may mean that we'll see some DLC content down the road to reintroduce either some past character classes or potentially some new ones. So that was a really brief run through of what was announced in the PC Gamer magazine article. What are you most looking forward to in Darkest Dungeon 2? The gameplay looks to be somewhat similar with a few changes, definitely a little shaking up of the current art style, and the gameplay mechanics are taking a little bit of a change, whether you feel that's good or bad as far as the complexity of the game is concerned. As somebody that currently has about 200 plus hours in the current game, I'm a little curious to see what they mean by this brisk 5-hour journey, and what does it mean for the replayability and value of what you currently get from Darkest Dungeon 2. Will the modding community be as active in this game, lending their own styles and twists to the gameplay? And of course, I'm excited for the voice actings of Wayne June as we dive deeper into madness with his voice narrating us along the way. I know that I will be playing it at launch and hope for some early access, so be sure to follow me over on my Twitch channel as well, where we will dive deeper into the gameplay later on this year.